I was the girl who played soccer with the boys. I was the girl who rode a bicycle on the street in shorts, which another Jewish girl didn't do that. See, I was born a fighter. I am free. I was always free. When I was a child, my father used to say that I am dangerous.
In the Second World War, approximately 30,000 Jews escaped ghettos and work camps and formed organized armed resistance groups to fight the Nazis. These groups were known as partisans, and within their ranks were thousands of women.
The German soldiers came in to our town. It's like the noise of the motorcycles, and it was so overwhelming. So of course we found out then that this is the end. This is the way it was. We lived in fear all the time. All the time we lived in fear. And the young men, the young people in town, especially the young boys, somehow try to organize to get out of town, to go into the forest.
So my mother came up to me and she said, Brenda, you must go into hiding. And I resisted. I said, where am I going to hiding? I resisted. I said, no, whatever will be with everybody, will be the family, will be with me. She said, no, maybe one of us will survive. And she insisted.
When my mother was killed, I got tough. When my mother was killed. Before my mother was killed, I didn't even want to go to the partisan group because I wanted to follow my mother. Wherever my mother will go, I should go, that I should be killed with her. And it just happened that I was with her. And I wasn't killed.
So we came there, we sat down and we waited. We waited a long time, actually. And then came out a commander. And he started asking questions. He says, so where are your weapons? We didn't have any weapons. So how many trains did you dynamite? We didn't. So I thought he was not going to take us in, but being that my uncle was a trained scout, they needed a scout and to lead them in the vicinity where the partisans were. There were strangers in that part of the country, so they took us in because of my uncle.
It was beautiful. I see people with the guns, with everybody is fully equipped with horse and buggy, with the ammunition on the horse and buggy, and everybody is just ready to fight. When officer came out strolling to us, and he said in Russian, you know, like I said to him, take us in, we wanted to fight. He said, are you ready? I said, yes. And he said, now or never. I said, I'm going.
Despite the odds, women were able to join the partisans, comprising nearly 10% of all resistance fighters. Many were accompanied by their family members. Their work in the partisan camps ranged from domestic duties such as cleaning, cooking, and nursing, to reconnaissance, weapons transport, and even armed combat.
Women, yeah. What they were doing? Part of them used to go with us to fight. They used to go like, the farmers couldn't digest when they said a woman coming in with a rifle. They couldn't, they weren't used.
We were not interested in getting involved in open battle fights because we were not equipped or trained for it. We were interested in getting involved in sabotage acts to interrupt and disrupt the communication and transportation to the front.
המטרה שלנו הייתה ללחום נגד גרמנים ולפגוע בהם בווילנה, שידעו שאפילו בעיר הפרטיזנים מגיעים. וזה בעצם הייתה המטרה הכי חשובה בפעולה הזאת, לערער את הביטחון של הגרמנים.
The Partisans' main objective was to fight a guerrilla war against the Nazis and their collaborators. They fought against the Germans, targeted military and strategic sites, disrupted or destroyed rail, power, and communication lines, dynamited factories, stole weapons. There were two different types of armed resistance movements in which Jewish women were involved. The first was the almost all-male, primarily non-Jewish unit, of which there were thousands throughout the whole of Europe. They comprised hundreds of thousands of fighters. The second were the all-Jewish units, which were relatively few in number, but more accepting of women.
I was called in actually to the commander's wife. And she talked to me. I was a youngster, sheltered, did not go out, didn't have any boyfriends or anything of the sort, and she started talking to me. And she said to me, "You're a young girl. There are very few women in the Partisans, and I would advise you to select an officer. Life will go better for you."
When the men went for missions and they got clothes, girls sold themselves in order to get a dress or get a pair of shoes or get the... I was lucky because I had my parents, my father and my brother, and they used to bring me clothes and food. So I didn't have to sell myself. But plenty of the girls did it because they had to do it in order to survive.
Jewish women who ran away from the ghettos, they had a very tough time because they lost families and they were not up to romantic relationships. And they suffered mostly. You were given the 2 hours. In the 2 hours you had to bring the water, chop the wood, build the fire, prepare the food, cut, cook and clean up. And in 2 hours, if you had no help, it wasn't possible to do. And they were always worried, what if they are not able to perform? They'll be thrown out of the Partisans.
The same way like the boys who raped that girl. The first one was a commander, and he shouldn't make that example. And he was shot. We had all stood out in a circle, and he was in the middle, and they talked about it, and he was shot.
Groups like Frank Bleichmann's Jewish unit had their own rules for the protection and respect of their female partisans.
In our groups, I felt we treated women very well, very nicely. When I first met my wife as a partisan in the Partisans, she was with me by about 2 months. She survived together. I treated her like my own sister. And she behaved like a lady. It was just mutual, and I would never touch her because, you know, she was young. And I know the reason why she wanted to be with us, because she had no choice.
הפרטיזנים הסובייטים לא העריכו את הנשים כמסוגלות ללחום כגברים, בדרך עקיפה אולי הם צדקו. כי בתנאים של פרטיזני לאישה באמת היה יותר קשה ללחום. אבל היו גם אפשרויות ללחום. למשל, כשיצאנו לפוצץ רכבות, צריך לסחוב קילוגרמים כבדים של TNT. אז לאישה באמת היה קשה ללכת 50 קילומטר עם ה-TNT. אז זה כאילו נפל על הבחורים שהם היו צריכים לסחוב יותר. אז הם אמרו, בשביל מה אנחנו צריכים אותם? אז בחורים לא רצו, לא רק שהסובייטים לא רצו. הבחורים לא רצו ללכת עם נשים. אבא כמעט הכריח אותם, שלכל פעולה תצא בחורה אחת.
We took off the sentries by a silencer. We went into the base and made a mess out of them. It's like an atom bomb erupted. While we are we are going into the base, a train was passing by. And we put it in the dynamite. The dynamite exploded, and all of them were waiting with machine guns and machine gunned them, and they were the end of them.
We went 2 girls. There was a little bridge that was wood, and that little bridge connected the Germans to go from one town to another for ammunition, for food, for things like that. And we were supposed to burn that bridge. We came into the Russian village and we said we need kerosene and we need straw in 5 minutes. We haven't got. We said, if you don't have, we'll kill the whole town. Either you give us or you're gonna be killed. They gave us in 5 minutes kerosene and straw, and we put a fire underneath that bridge. The Germans saw it, a fire. They happened to fire on us with all the ammunition that they could do. We didn't chicken out. That bridge burned. When we came back, the commander said that we did it very good, and we got order Lenina, a medal.
סוניה, שהייתה קשרית שלנו, עזרה לנו בזה שהכירה לי איזה שוטר ליטאי, ואני יצאתי לטייל יחד איתו כאילו, והייתי צריכה לקחת פצצה מגנטית כזאת, לקחת דטונטור, לשים ולהדביק אותה לדלת של טרנספורמטור. אני שמתי כאלה 3 פצצות, ואחרי כמה שעות באמת שמענו פיצוצים ובעיר היה חושך. וזו הייתה לה שמחה גדולה, וזה השפיע מאוד על גרמנים, כי הם הבינו שפרטיזנים הגיעו עד לווילנה, ולא ידעו שעשו כמה בחורים ובחורות יהודיות.
There were times when we had to cross a railroad, and from all sides there was shooting. I didn't even bend down my head. I wasn't worried I was going to get killed. If I was going to get killed, I was going to get killed as a fighter. Not because I'm a Jew.
I don't remember ever being scared because we lived for one thing. Either we'll survive or we'll kill a few Germans. I didn't fear for my life. My life was nothing. Yet, you want to live.
A year and a half, we saved about 100 people. This was my thing to do. I think that's the most important. That's the biggest resistance that we could have done to the Germans, is to survive. Is to have survivors.
It made me feel very good. It made me feel proud of myself, to be able to be a partisan, to be able to help in any way I was able to, that mission to destroy the Nazi machine.